Okay, welcome to all the participants here tonight. Wonderful to see you. Welcome, Deepo. Didn't notice you arrive. And welcome everybody else. And if you're watching now or later on YouTube, welcome to you too. So this is our weekly Interfaith Zoom meeting. We've been going at least 5 years by the number 286. So it must be getting to 5.5 or 6 years. And a little later on, I'll introduce our speaker for tonight, Walter Mason, who will talk about Journey to Loving Kindness, How to Live with Metta. But to begin the devotional program, I'll ask Ahmed if you could kindly acknowledge country, and then we'll have some music and readings.
Okay, welcome friends to our tonight's meeting. For the last 100 years or so, people thought that they have conquered the land without no people in there. But we now know that in the Australian continent, the original people that were living here. So I'd like to acknowledge them. We acknowledge and pay respect to the past, present, and future traditional custodians and elders of this nation we call Australia, and the continuation of cultural, spiritual, and educational practices of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. We acknowledge Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander tribes were the first sovereign nations of the Australian continent. The Gadigal of the Eora Nation are the traditional custodians of this place, we now call Sydney, and Gangal people are traditional owners of Bearwood, where Vasanta, the originator of this program, lives. I live in Gordon, in Ku-ring-gai, and I live in Ku-ring-gai Nation. Welcome again, and we start.
Thank you, Ahmed. And now we have a set of readings on mindfulness with bracketed by some music to begin and end.
Windflowers. My father told me not to go near them. He said he feared them always. And he told me that they carried him away.
Windflowers.
Windflowers. Beautiful windflowers. I couldn't wait to touch them. To smell them, I held them closely. And now, I cannot break away. Their sweet bouquet disappears, like the vapor in the desert. So, take a warning, son. Windflowers, ancient windflowers. Their beauty captures every young dreamer who lingers near them. But ancient windflowers I love you.
Windflowers, my father told me not to go near them. He fed them always. Said they carried him away. Windflowers, I couldn't wait to touch them, to smell them. I held them closely. Now I cannot break away. Their sweet bouquet disappears like the vapor in the desert. Take a warning sign. Windflowers, their beauty captures every young dreamer who lingers near them. Ancient windflowers, I love you.
Whenever and wherever the restless and unsteady mind wanders, one should bring it back and continually focus it on God. The mind is very restless, turbulent, strong, and obstinate. O Krishna, it appears to me that it is more difficult to control than the wind. Lord Krishna said, "What you say is correct. The mind is indeed very difficult to restrain, but by practice and detachment, it can be controlled."
Men with lustful deeds address the body, but do you all night long address the heavenly wisdom and call for the wisdom that will keep you awake?
If a man is earnest and exerts himself, if he is ever mindful, if his deeds are pure, if he acts with consideration and restraint, and lives according to the law, then his glory will increase. Buddhist writings.
When I behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what is man that you have been mindful of him? Mortal man that you have taken note of him, that you have made him little less than divine, and adorned him with glory and majesty. Jewish writings.
But when he had turned around and looked at his disciples, he rebuked Peter, saying, "Get behind me, Satan, for you are not mindful of the things of God, but the things of men." Christian writings, Mark.
And to thou, O readers, bring thy Lord to remembrance of thy very soul, with humility, reverence, without loudness in the word, in the morning and evening, and be not thou of those who are unhatefulness. Islamic writings.
Those who are asleep must be awakened. The indifferent must become mindful and attentive. But all this must be accomplished in the spirit of kindness and love. Baha'i writings.
I shall sing my song, be it right, be it wrong, in the night, in the day, anyhow, anyway. I shall sing la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. La 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 la. With my heart, with my soul, for the young, for the old. When I'm high, when I'm low, when I'm first, when I'm slow, I shall sing la 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 la. 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 I shall sing my song, be it right, be it wrong, in the night, in the day, anyhow, anyway. I shall sing la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
Thank you very much to the readers and participants, and welcome again to everybody. Now, my great pleasure to welcome our speaker for tonight, and that is Walter Mason. Walter is the author of travel memoirs Destination Saigon and Destination Cambodia, both published by Allen and Unwin. He is a well-known travel writer and speaker, and Walter is also a popular teacher of writing, mindfulness, and creativity. as well as being a leading light on the Sydney literary scene, interviewing authors at festivals and special events. He is a regular lecturer on literary subjects, including E.F. Benson, Noel Coward, and the travel writer H.V. Morton. Walter has spoken at festivals and conferences around the world, and the topic tonight is Journey to Loving Kindness, How to Live with Metta. So please, Walter, tell us what metta is.
Okie doke. I'm just going to share my presentation here. I think I can do it. Okay, how's that? Can everyone see it?
It's just, yep, it's there now.
Perfect. Okay, so yeah, I'm talking tonight about metta, and this is a Buddhist idea, and it's an all-encompassing idea. It's normally translated these days as loving kindness. Sometimes one word, sometimes two. It doesn't matter. But as you can see, if you can see the definitions there on screen, it encompasses a number of sort of nice ideas: benevolence, kindness, amity, which is a beautiful word, and it's all based around this idea about being good and about being kind to others, to other living things, and also to our environment. Being a loving person who exercises compassion and tolerance for others. It's an idea that's very easily dismissed in a cynical age, but it's not for a moment an easy thing to do. It is demanding, it's difficult as a spiritual path, and it's very serious. And I know that some people would flippantly say, "Oh, it's all just about love and light. It's about not being realistic." I think one of the things we hear a lot these days is a trendy phrase called spiritual bypassing. It's all about being Pollyanna. And I'm here to tell you, it's none of those things. It's actually a very serious and very difficult spiritual path that is definitely not bypassing any sorts of feelings or emotions that you choose to have or that you may have. It's just a way of dealing with them and of moving with other people and moving through the world. And also, I'd like to say there's nothing wrong with Pollyanna either. I'm a big fan of that book, and I have been ever since I saw the Disney series of it on TV when I was a kid in the 70s. But I think Pollyanna is actually a great undiscovered spiritual text, which many people could do well with reading. And if you haven't read it, then I suggest you do, because it's an absolutely beautiful book and it's filled with beautiful ideas. But there's absolutely nothing in this idea of metta and upholding it as a sort of a way of spiritual growth that is easy, and it's got nothing to do with dismissing the darkness. It's actually a very, very powerful way of dealing with these darker sides of it, not just of ourselves but of other people as well. It's a way we can choose to move through the world. And it's all about this sort of spiritual choice, which is a very powerful part of Buddhism. This idea that actually we choose how we behave, and that with enough grace, with enough spiritual practice, with enough education and learning, we might choose to move through this world in the spirit of loving kindness. And I believe with all my heart that this idea of metta is one of a very powerful spiritual significance that can really change your life and certainly change the lives of the people around you, because they'll notice the difference very, very soon. It's a very profound and important spiritual truth. I think that the desire to be treated kindly is a universal one. I don't think there's anyone out there who doesn't want to be treated with kindness. And metta reminds us that it's our responsibility as well to treat other people with the kindness that we hope that we might experience ourselves. And I know that this is an idea I think occurs in every single spiritual tradition in the world. This idea of treat others as you'd wish to be treated. I remember once, years and years and years ago, I actually went to the gift shop at the Baha'i Temple here in Sydney, and I bought a beautiful postcard which had all the different versions of that sort of saying from different spiritual traditions. And I'm sure I've got it here somewhere, but I remember buying it, thinking this is absolutely beautiful. And it was nice to see it laid out like that. So metta is, I'm just trying to work out how to do this. Hang on a second. Just a sec. I think I might have had it frozen for too long. Just bear with me. I'll see if I can work it out. Oh, there we go. I've worked it out. It's one of the Brahma Vihara, the abodes, the divine abodes, or it's translated in many ways these days. The old first translators of Buddhist texts called them the abodes of God, but then it became changed to be sort of a more Buddhist idea of the divine abodes. And these are it's thought that if we can live in one of these sort of abodes, if we can live in one of these ways of thinking and behaving, then we actually are living, we're already living a divine life. And so the four Brahma Vihara are metta, which I've just explained, and karuna, which is compassion, mudita, which is sympathetic joy, being happy at the happiness of others. And the final one is upekkha, which is equanimity, an evenness of temper, not being carried away by the winds of our emotions too much. So it's thought that if we can cultivate our mind to dwell in these four areas of behavior and thinking, then we are in fact already halfway there, more than halfway there, I'd say. I'm not sure if you can see all of this, but Bhante Vajrameddi is one of my favorite Buddhist writers. He's a senior monk, but from a very unremarkable monastery in Bangkok, just outside Bangkok, and he's sort of a Buddhist agony aunt in the Thai newspapers. And someone wrote in once saying, for the life of me, I can't get along with this woman at work. And I think I'm going to have to either quit or get her sacked. And there's no way I can get along with this person. And he wrote back characteristically a very beautiful response to this person, because it is a genuine thing. I mean, we do bump into people, and sometimes we're forced to be working alongside them or moving alongside them, that we just feel like we don't get along with them. And Bhante said that he said the way around this is to imagine it's your grandmother. Imagine it's your favorite grandmother. I wouldn't be able to pick a favorite grandmother. I happen to like both my grandmothers very much, and of course both of them are long gone now, and I wish I could have either of them here. But I like to think that everyone treated my grandmothers the way I treated them. And he said, just imagine that this person is your grandmother, and she has her good days and her bad days. And he said, regard people in a friendly way, as family, as friends, with love, generosity, and kindness. Now, I think we can all recognize that this is not an easy thing to do, particularly with someone we don't like very much, someone we might be clashing with or butting heads with. And yet, I feel that as spiritual people, and of course we're all spiritual people on this call tonight, we have to do it. We have to try our very best to love and to get along with people. And by upholding this Brahma Vihara of metta, it really helps. It really helps because we've made a commitment to ourselves to not express anger, to not express grumpiness or hatred or any of these things. We actually have to work out a way to treat this other person with kindness and love. Now, love is a tricky word in English because when you say love, we instantly think of Valentine's Day and our crushes and romantic love, but it's probably not the love we're talking about. It's probably what the Christians call oh gosh, I've forgotten exactly what they call it, but C.S. Lewis expressed it beautifully when he said, "Love is not affectionate feeling, but a steady wish for a loved person's ultimate good. And I like to think of it that way, this steady wish for another person's good. It's not a passion. It's not a strong sort of romantic feeling or some sort of surge in our heart, something that makes us flutter and our heart pound. But it's this, as C.S. Lewis beautifully put it, this steady wish for another person's ultimate good. Yep. And what I often, I teach a lot of creative writing, and one of the first exercises I give people, and you can take this as your homework if you want to, but list down the ways you think you can give. Because when we talk about giving, our minds automatically flick to the financial. Tithing, when you turn up at church and the collection plate goes around, and certainly that's a wonderful way to be able to give. But there are so many others as well. So many others that I think sort of are in line as well with this idea of loving kindness. We can give of our time. We can give of our hearts. We can give of our minds. We can share our talents. We can listen to other people. Something as simple as that. We can overlook the faults of others or the mistakes we think that they've made. There are so many ways that we can actually give right now. There was a Swedish mystic called Emanuel Swedenborg, and he came up with this thing that he called the doctrine of uses. And he says that each of us was sent to this earth with a special set of gifts. And there's not a single other person on this earth who has that same combination of gifts. And I'm aware that this is really true, and I love the fact that this is true. That I can do certain things well, and someone else can do certain other things well. That if we come together and that we give of our best, that the world is a really lovely place. And I think the one universal that we can all give is kindness. It's something that we're all capable of, even though sometimes it might take a little bit of work. And I'm not talking about this schmaltzy insipidity of a Valentine's Day card, as I mentioned. At our hearts, we must be certain to exhibit as much possible substance and wisdom as we're capable of. So it's really important to always temper this idea of love with the idea as well of wisdom. And this is where the Buddhist tradition is so wonderful, because it brings in together this idea of love, but we also have to have wisdom as well. And they sort of they balance out in a very nice plateau. And we must keep in our minds and our hearts this idea of kindness and always be looking out for it. It's a very important quality, because we've never finished being kind. We can never have a day off, We might want to sometimes when we're feeling sort of, maybe we're tired or we're feeling sick or we're really aggravated with somebody. But actually, this work is really going to stay with us to the end of our lives. There's a wonderful writer, American writer called Wilson Van Dusen. And he was at the end of his life, and he was thinking, I'm useless. I'm absolutely useless. I'm just sitting here. I'm sick. I can't get out of bed. I require care. How can I be useful? How can I be kind to other people when I'm like this? And he realized that actually he could be profoundly grateful to the people that were helping him, the people who loved him and who chose to do kind things for him, and to thank them for it. And he realized that right until his very last breath, he was capable of this very, very simple kindness. Being a good patient, being a grateful recipient of kindness. It's actually a talent. I don't know if you've ever had to care for someone who's sort of gotten older. So I'm sure many of you have, or who are at the end of their lives, and sometimes, they can exhibit a great deal of grumpiness, and that's natural and understandable. But maybe when it comes time for us, if we can keep it in the back of our minds to be grateful and to be kind to the people who are showing us this care. But we can never rest on our laurels, is the message, I guess, the message of this idea of metta. It's contained in the Metta Sutta, which is in the sort of the earliest texts of Buddhism, and it says, "Do not perform the slightest wrong for which people may censure you. Instead, reflect, may all beings be happy and safe. May all beings be happy and safe. This is at the very heart of this idea, and you could probably sort of narrow down the entire scripture just to this one sentence. Kindness, particularly in interpersonal communications, seems to be a little bit out of fashion at the moment. I think a lot of people are always justifying their anger, they're justifying their outrage, and they're always saying, you know, I don't have to be kind to this person because I disagree with them. But meta, this doctrine of meta says otherwise. In fact, uh, it's those people with whom we disagree that we have to be we have to try hardest at cultivating this quality with. And it is actually in this field of dealing with people who we might find difficult to deal with that we can actually reach the very heights of loving kindness. A world of order and organized kindness would be a really, really wonderful thing for all of us to have. I'm sure we all agree. And this world is only going to come around if we as individuals contribute the most we can to cultivating this field of metta, of loving kindness. There are a million small and boring ways that we can be, whether we're called upon to be kind. I've listed out a couple of them that occurred to me. The careful attention to the elderly. That's something that in Western culture we've sort of forgotten about a bit. The indulgence of the talkative and the eccentric. I might find myself in both of those categories, and I'm grateful when someone listens to me. But I have to remind myself that I should sort of spend a little time listening to others as well. An awareness of the comfort that others may acquire, and an awareness of just how painful rudeness can be. Once upon a time, people, of course, were taught etiquette and taught to be kind, and I think that we have forgotten that. We have lost a lot of that, and actually, it really is something that we need to do ourselves now, because it's no longer sort of taught at school or anywhere else, and we have to really make an effort to observe the effect of our words upon other people, because it's really easy to be cruel, and it's really easy to be thoughtless when we're talking to other people. We have multiple reasons to be kind, and we should always be on the lookout for them. And that's something that I've had to learn over very many years of study, and I'm still learning to this day. I'm still often surprised by how remarkably thoughtless I am, and when I've realized, I think, oh gosh, you know, I beat myself up about it. But of course, that's not a very valuable way of dealing with these encounters. You might notice that I've used a few images here of the Mahayana Buddhist Kuan Yin, or the Bodhisattva of mercy, of loving kindness, because she's just so wonderfully emblematic of this idea of metta. And she's normally always depicted holding a vase. Sometimes she's holding it up, as she is in this photograph, and sometimes she's holding it down. And the story behind this, which I think is lovely, and I've heard from many other people, is that she hears all of the cries of the world. So her name means the one who hears the cries, and during the day, she hears everyone's prayers, and she weeps. She weeps when she hears of how cruel and how unkind the world can be. And then at night, when everyone's sleeping, her tears are transformed into the balm of loving kindness, which she turns over and pours back out over the world, so that people can wake up renewed in their love and in their kindness. And I absolutely love this idea. And I often think I want to be a part of that balm. I want to be part of that loving kindness that is poured out all over the world. And this requires an active effort on my part. Loving kindness is very rarely about passivity, though it can be. It can be. But I think we can all be a presence of loving kindness in the world. We can all make sure that we can be the person that people look forward to seeing, that we can be the person that when we walk into the room, everyone feels at ease and everyone feels, oh, thank goodness they're there. That's something that we can work towards. I think I really believe, and I'm a huge advocate of writing things down. And again, when I teach creative writing, I do tell people, oh, write in your pads this moment, or writing in journals this moment, a letter of love to someone that you really love. And again, I'm here talking about this broader idea of love. So not someone you've got a crush on, but someone that you feel comfortable with and confident in their love. So a family member, a parent, a sibling, children. It can be your partner. And I say just write it down, and then when you get home, copy it out on a card, on a piece of paper, and send it to them. Because we forget to tell the people who surround us that we love them, that they're important to us, and that we cherish them. And I don't know how many people do it, but I did have one woman once that she did it one week. She wrote it down and she said she got home and she copied it out and she sent it. And it was a letter to her daughter, telling her daughter all of the reasons why she loved her. And she said a couple of days later, her daughter rang her panicked and said, "Mum, are you dying?" Because that's how rare we hear from other people about how much they love us. I'd love to receive a letter like that. I still haven't, by the way. But yeah, it's her daughter assumed that she was at the end of her life simply because she'd expressed this sentiment of how much she loved her daughter and why. And that's a really key thing to remember as well. So I'd urge you all to do that as well. Jot something down and send it off to someone that you love, because we can't be sure that people will be in our lives forever. My dear old mum is been trapped in dementia now for many years, and now she's at the stage where she can't move or talk or anything. And I know she doesn't know who I am, and I think I can always think of the things that I didn't say to her, and now, of course, it's too late. So this quality of loving kindness is actually, let's see, oh, I don't know what's going. Hang on, let me take it back here. I can't seem to stop it. It doesn't matter. Actually, why don't we go to this anyhow? I can still tell you what I wanted to tell you. That this quality of loving kindness is cultivated through our daily actions. That's how it's done. It's not philosophy. It's not talk. It's not a sort of an idea that is too high for anyone to grasp. In fact, it's within everyone's grasp. And the chanting of the Metta Sutta, which is done quite often in Buddhist monasteries. I know that we have a Buddhist monastic on here tonight, and he might be able to tell us how often they do it in their community. But for many years, I was with a Thai Buddhist community here in Sydney, and they chanted it every evening in Pali and in English. So a constant reminder of this need of behaving in a way that expresses love and kindness, and that is something that I think we forget. Sometimes we like to talk about these things, and we kind of forget to actually do them. I shouldn't say we, should I? I should say I, and some other people as well, but definitely me. So the way we do it is we express metta to others as we walk through life. We can actually think of ourselves when we are mindful enough to do it as extending this energy of loving kindness in all of the directions. So in front, in back, side to side, up and down. It's actually a wonderful practice to do. And if I can remember to do it, it's the sort of thing I like to do when I'm standing in line or I have to sit on a bus and I haven't brought a book with me. It's a form of prayer, I guess. And many of you on here are from other traditions. So the idea of prayer is I think, well, I don't know. I know it's the same thing. It's this idea of keeping in mind love for others, and meditation or prayer or contemplation. All these things help us to develop really more skillful states of mind, and that's what metta is about. It's a skill, and it's the nature of skills that we need to work on them, and that we can improve them constantly throughout our lives. So to think of metta and to think of loving kindness as a skill is really the right way about it. And to extend then this skill that we possess, or that we're beginning to possess, all throughout the world, and it's emitting itself from us. I think it works. I was in a cafe just recently, and a big fight broke out between the table, and then the waiter sort of tried to get involved as well, and they all were sort of then they were all shouting at each other, and I just thought, "Oh, what can I do in this situation, you know?" And I just thought, no, I'm not going to stand up and involve myself because it didn't look like it was going to get physical. So I just did this extension of loving kindness. I tried to envelop them in my own thoughts of loving kindness, and I don't know. I don't know if it was me or not, but it actually seemed to calm down. Though when the waiter walked away, there was still a little bit of grumbling, but it was really the strength of those emotions had calmed right down. And even if it was just my imagination, I calmed right down. And a calmer me and a calmer you is a wonderful thing to carry into the world. But we should keep in mind that we don't want to be foolish either. You know, if someone is holding a gun to our heads or a knife to our throats, we might want to think of some other things to do as well as extending metta. Wisdom. This is where the wisdom comes in, and one of the most powerful ways that we can extend and we can live metta is through piyavacha, which is a Pali term for kindly speech. And this is a very important, and I think it's a very easy thing for all of us to begin to think about. Like, just how kind are my words? It's a tough one sometimes because we can be really grumpy with someone. Or we can just think, oh, I want to give that person a piece of my mind. But I don't know about you, but no one's ever really taken on board any of the pieces of my mind that I've cared to share in a very unhappy way. And someone else said to me once, has anyone ever come around to your way of thinking in the course of an argument? And it's a very rare thing to have happen. So it's better not to engage in the argument in the first place, to think instead of this piyavacha, of this kindly speech. I'm not talking about flattery or insincerity. And that's what people say. Does that mean I have to just say nice things about everyone? Well, kind of, yes, but it doesn't mean you have to walk up to someone and say, "You look fantastic today," when they just look like they've tumbled out of bed and haven't taken their pajamas off or something, you know. But what I do say is where if someone comes up to you and says, "How does my new hairstyle look?" This is where piyavacha comes, can be quite challenging. And as you can see, I'm the perfect person to talk about hairstyles. But, if someone comes up to you and says, "How do you think my new hairstyle looks?" You might think it looks terrible. But pause for a moment and say to yourself, what's really being asked of me here? Because this person might have spent, $200 on this hairstyle. This person might be really, really happy about the way they look. And my opinion of this hairstyle is not necessarily the truth of the matter. And so I always say, when someone asks you, "What do you think of my new hairstyle?" the only right answer is to say, "You look fantastic." Or you can say, "It's fantastic," or "It's wonderful," or "It's gorgeous," whatever you want to say. Because really, all they're actually looking for is a kindly word. And it pays to remember that sometimes. If we walk through the world being brutally honest about everything, I think we would discover that we are actually acting in brutality. There used to be an old movie back in the 90s, I don't know if you've seen it, called Liar Liar. And this guy gets himself into terrible trouble because he's taken some sort of potion, which means he can only tell the truth. But the key here is that it isn't actually the truth. It's what he sees as the truth. And the two things can be very different. Our opinions, our ideas, are shaped by all kinds of things, including prejudice, including the culture we grew up in, including how old we are. So, it pays to take a breath and maybe just keep it nice. So don't mistake these arbitrary dislikes and likes as the truth, and don't feel duty bound to express this truth as you see it, because remember that there's many different ways of looking at something and looking at a question. And if there is one benefit to new ways of thinking and new ideas of thinking, it's that actually there isn't just one way to see something. And sometimes we might not understand the expression of that thing, and we might become confused about it. But we need to be careful about this. For example, I don't know. I live in Australia. I was brought up in a Christian environment, and I grew up in this sort of Western culture. And if someone falls over on the ground, then we put on this face and we say, oh, a worried face. We actually feel worried, and this is our expression of that worry. It's a frown. And we rush over to help the person. But I spend a lot of my life in Vietnam, and in many different cultures, if something happens to someone which is difficult to process or looks like is serious, one of the first things to do is to smile and even sometimes to laugh. But that doesn't mean that person doesn't want to help you. It doesn't mean that person isn't really concerned. It's just another way that people have been brought up to behave. So it's a lesson that I've had to learn in my life, and I could be really sort of obnoxious about it and saying, "What are you laughing at?" Thinking that this person is actually being cruel, but in fact, that's a socially conditioned response, and it's something that we have to do. There's all sorts of different things. It's important that we behave with as much kindness as we possibly can with people, and to be present for people. This is what Metta is about, is just being there for people. I found that one of the simplest things that I can do in my life, and I see people increasingly not doing, is maintaining eye contact with someone. If you start to notice it, it's remarkably common to see people having interactions, particularly with like cashiers or bus drivers or something, where people are just on their phones while another person is talking to them and they don't look up. And so something I have to remind myself is to actually look at that other person and to smile and look them in the eye and say thank you. Uh, I was a cashier once upon a time. Actually, for several years, I worked in a bookshop, and I noticed it. I noticed when other people looked at me, and I felt recognized as a human being. Really, in closing, I just wanted to tell you a personal story about loving kindness, because often, nope, I don't know if I can get back. Yeah, we'll stay on this slide, doesn't matter. Our goal is just to love ourselves and to love others more perfectly. And one of the illustrations I wanted to tell you, because often we forget about just how kind and just how loving the people closest to us are being. And all of us, the very fact that we're sitting here tonight on a Zoom call means that all of us must have, at least in recent times, been the recipients of countless acts of kindness. And it sometimes it's really healthy to remember that. And I grew up in rural Australia, right at the top of Australia, in a little tiny town. And I love singing and dancing and dramatics. You might not have been able to tell. And my father, every year we had this thing called the Juvenile of Stedford, which is where children would compete against one another in these areas of the arts. And we lived 111 kilometers away from the nearest town, big town, which was Townsville in North Queensland. And my father would drive me whichever event I had on or my sister had on, he would drive us the 111 kilometers there, and he would sit in a hot little concert hall. This was the day when there wasn't much air conditioning, and sit through dozens of children doing it must have been terribly boring, doing their little routines, and then he would drive us 111 kilometers back home. And I must tell you that when I was 16 and 17, I used to really grumble about my father. I thought he was the worst person in the world. And really, it probably wasn't until I was in my 30s that I remembered what he actually used to do for us, and the immense kindness and immense love that showed. And I rang him up and I told him, and I said, Dad, I'm glad that you did that all those years ago, and I just realized now, and I've been so thoughtless over the years in not recognizing the love and the kindness that you showed me. And he broke down into tears because he never expected any thanks, but he was delighted to be thanked. And I reminded him that I loved him. And that's all we need to do, really, is to remind all of the people around us that even if we don't have that strong emotion of love, that we have some regard for them, that we have some respect for them, and that as we move through the world with this each day renewed idea of love and kindness, that we can make a really big impact on the world around us. And that with each loving word, with each loving action, with each kind thought, and with each kind behavior, we are actually creating a more loving world. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Walter. That was wonderful.
Should I stop sharing screen now, Colin?
Yes, that's probably the best. Even though I could see there were a few other slides that which looks good.
Oh, don't worry. I'm always way over prepared, so.
Okay. All right. Look, that's wonderful. Now I can see everyone's fantastic hair. You were saying a word of kindness, and everyone looks fantastic on full screen. Okay, so this is the time when if we have any questions or comments, please use the reaction button to raise your hand, and that creates an orderly queue. And I can't let my wife go unrecognized, so you're first.
Hello, Yung.
Hello, how are you? It was very interesting to hear what you said about things happening in your life.
Thank you.
Yeah, one thing, when you talk about if somebody had an accident and other people laughing, you have to understand what the background cultures that have been influenced. Like,
Yes.
you read the history, Vietnam was influenced by Chinese people, by American people, by Korean people, by Japanese people, by French people, you see. So that all the culture, I don't know if they get they get influenced by laughing and just brush off like, oh, your fault is not so important or so serious, so stop crying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how it was. People were told when they were young, like 4 years old, if they fall, you got to stand up and be strong.
Yes.
Be resilient, not like stand there and cry forever and ask somebody to pick the babies up.
Yeah.
That's not how they were trained.
Yeah.
And the second thing that I need to mention that when we try to write a love letter to anybody that we love, just say, for example, we had to know that the person we try to express our love to is a right target.
Yes.
Because otherwise, they might just take your love letter, go to Facebook.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah,
Yes.
or Gmail or social media, and do the ad for themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, like influencer. I am
Yes.
so much loved by people, and here is a letter from XYZ.
Yep.
So we have to be extremely careful when we look for the right target, and even we want to be confidential, but none of that thing gonna be happening at the moment on social media, and especially AI add into it too.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Right? They can write a lot of things on AI and Snapchat and whatever.
Yeah. I guess I had in mind that it is with someone that you trust. It's not a romantic crush. It's not the person at the bakery that you think looks good. But it's to someone you really love and who loves you as well.
Yeah, and then people write on Facebook and social media, and other people will look at it and say, "Oh, that is a very strange crush." Well, Well, you teach in literature. You know how they use in literature.
Yes, the romantic idea of love. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so they always have a second ideas on whatever ideas we thinking about Buddha.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Koyo. Thank you.
Thank you. Sumeda, please.
Hello.
Bante.
Over to you, Sumeda.
Hello.
We can hear you, Bante.
Okay, so and I'm really appreciate about the presentation of the Walter, Mr. Walter.
Thank you.
So I was so much enjoying and also learn new ideas. But it's that was my watching and listening to the presentation. So I wanted to share my personal experience. So that's why I raised my hand in the early in the morning from here in Canada. So yeah, I was born in 1990. I came to Buddhist temple when I was 13. So I became monk, ordained when I was 14. So I had one. I want to open my mind, and I don't want to hide anything. So it's straightforward and open expression of by myself. So I was so much anger boy. So when I was a kid, so also like even after becoming ordained monk, so I was I couldn't be control my anger. Only just one fault. So that I had. So that's anger, right? So much anger. So like example, if anyone blame me one time, and then he never gonna be blamed two times. So so and then after becoming monk, so I feel like little control. So because of doing chanting and worshipping and spiritual things, and also I had good friendship so with the Buddhist monks. So that's how automatically control. But even I couldn't handle that situation. So when I was 19, I wanted to fix it, right? So that's what even I read about so many articles in deep about loving kindness in scholars articles and Buddhism and some other religious quotes and Dhammapada and some other Buddhist teachings even, right? So but that was not practical, right? That was my knowledge part. So when I was 19, I wanted to practice loving kindness meditation, right? So then you said very good word, skills. That's skills, right? So I try to build my loving kindness skills so many times. So I apply it. So in practical life, in social life also, even sometimes it pop-ups, right? So I couldn't be handled. So then that was my lucky point and turning point to fix the problem. It was 2024. So I found great place. There's I want to share that place and details. That's not promotion or something, right? So SN Goenkaji bring Vipassana meditation to the all over the world, right? So that from the real Buddhist teachings, but through Myanmar, he practiced and learned from the Myanmar Buddhist monks, and then he opened to the all over the world. It's in Goenkaji Vipassana centers. So I found that place and stayed there for 10-day courses annually. So I finished 3 times. So that's not about the quantity. So that's about, I wanted to share how personally I fixed that problem with practical application of the loving kindness meditation with vipassana, both together. Anapanasati meditation called breathing in, breathe out. So then it for the next step vipassana, and then the loving kindness totally fix the problem. So still I have been practicing. So that's how eradicate our anger thoughts by applying so loving kindness method to our life. So right now I'm so much enjoying. I'm happy for the God or whatever religious profounders for this earth. So because of my soul is enjoying this total environment and other beings. So because of I found the better place, and also the food system also helped me to fix like unbalance the body situation and the mind situation. Meanwhile, practicing and meanwhile living in nature. What I mean. So those personal experiences I wanted to share with all scholars in this audio, in this audience. So thank you so much for the Walter, or we can say water, right?
Yes,
Water,
yes,
Walter.
absolutely. Thank you, Bante.
Yes, bless you all.
Thank you very much, Sumedha. Yes, please, Ahmed.
Yeah. Hi, Walter. Thanks very much for your talk and those beautiful slides that you had, images. I loved it. What I want to ask is if you associate with a person that persistently is trying to put you down and degrade, consider a person, how do you show this loving kindness to that person? Would have any effect on that person?
I mean, I believe it does, but at the same time, if it's if you're feeling constantly disrespected, I think this is where the wisdom comes in. Then I think sometimes the kindest thing to do is to disengage with that relationship. I had a personal experience in my own life. I had a sort of a best friend for 20 years, but even though we were in constant contact, we grew further and further apart, and I felt more and more as though that person was actively cruel to me, was actively disrespecting me, and as much as I tried to sort of shower that person with love, I just felt that the time had come where I'd reached the edge of my own limitations as a human, and so the best thing to do was really just to disengage from that relationship, which I did. And strangely enough, it was really recently that I bumped into them at a train station, and I was kind of scared. And it's foolish to be scared because that person presented a physical threat to me, and I did remember the spiritual sort of training kicked in, and I thought, no, just going to be as nice to this person as I would be to anyone else I bumped into at a train station. And the whole interaction went really, really well. But I meant, we're not going to go and have lunch anytime soon, you don't have to force yourself into situations. But I think if the situation is more difficult if that person is one's parent or one's sibling or someone that you absolutely have to work with. And that's when we really get tested. That's when we really have to rely on our spiritual reserves, because we can't physically escape from that person, and it might not be practical to do so, or actually it might actually cause more trouble for everyone else if we do that. Yeah, I think sometimes we do have to brush up against someone. The wonderful Buddhist writer Thich Nhat Hanh, the Zen master, he said, we have to when stones rub against each other, they get smoother, and sometimes we just have to accept that our rough edges are being smoothed out a little.
Do you confront them and say what your feelings are?
If you trust yourself to be able to do that in a respectful and calm way, then certainly. But normally it's not going to work. That's just in my experience. I've not had any training in that area. So whenever I've tried it, it's always been a huge failure. And I did actually talk to my friend all those years ago about my feelings, but they continued to choose to disrespect those feelings. So it didn't work out. Yeah, yeah.
Perhaps this is the way of their life, I guess.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'm sorry if it's not a satisfactory answer. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Whatever you
Totally.
feel in the situation will cause the least conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. I
That's it.
totally agree.
Right, yeah, thank you. That was wonderful, Walter. You mentioned a Christian concept of love. Was that the word agape?
That's the one I was looking for. Thank
Right.
you.
No worries.
I was lost in the moment, and I wasn't being sufficiently mindful to remember that. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, English is very poor in this expressions of love. We say love, and everyone assumes the romantic, but of course, the ancient Greeks had several words for different experiences of love, and agape was the highest and greatest of those. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm guessing that the love we have for other individuals, or romantic love, or whatever, may be an aspect of the most broadest kind of love, which
That's right. Yeah.
embraces
Yeah.
everyone.
A little drop of it. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned that it's a difficult and serious spiritual path,
Mm.
matter, and it seems, from what I'm hearing, is that even though our thoughts and actions are perhaps the one thing we can control in the world, still it's challenging because the insistent self keeps coming into the equation.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. And it's not one of the things I forgot to say was that actually when you go through the systematic system of loving kindness meditation, which is set forth in the Buddhist writings, one of the things that you show loving kindness towards is yourself, and that's really important because I know that in my situation, certainly that I was still really and still can be really critical of myself and really unrelenting in my sort of pointing finger at myself. And I sometimes I forget to extend that loving kindness because we're all going to slip up. We're all going to slip up. We all have our bad days, and sometimes it's bad weeks. And if that happens, I think it's really, really important that we exercise that same spirit of loving kindness towards ourselves and our own mistakes as well. Doesn't mean we can't examine them and rectify them, but we can also stop beating ourselves up for them. Mhm.
I think that kind of answers my question, which is, do you to overcome attachment and self? Do you find it's helpful to follow the Buddhist teachings, the Eightfold Path, and so forth? You mentioned right speech. I think that's one of the eight, isn't it?
Absolutely. Right speech and right action. There's two of them right there. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're good reminders anyhow, even if
Yeah.
sometimes we forget them, but it's there to reread every day if we want to.
Yeah, I think Buddha was one of the all-time great teachers of humanity because he found these things in the universe or they were revealed to him, however it happened, and he shared it with everyone. So humanity's been educated by Buddha for sure.
Yeah.
So we've got Jung and Sumeda, and because there's only 9 minutes left, it's also
Colin,
Sumeda. Yeah.
Mr. Walter, so is that okay to ask? How can I contact you?
Bante, my name is Walter Mason, and I have a website,
Okay.
waltermason.com. And if you click on the contact me there, it goes
Ah,
to my personal email. So yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Or you can
So,
always contact Sumeda as well. She can always put us in touch.
okay, I will ask
Vasanta,
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 madam.
sorry. I was looking at your name.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I'd be happy for Vasanta to pass on to my details. So yeah.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you for that question, Sumeda. Yes, Jung. And anybody else? There's still time for you to put your hands up with questions. Jung.
Thank you. I just want to have quick, implication about the statement that Jesus made. Is written in the Bible. Jesus said, "Love your enemies." And Buddha talk about benevolence. Whether you like or love somebody, shouldn't you just practice what the Bible said, what Jesus said? If somebody slap you on the left hand side of your cheek, and you got to give them the right hand side so they can slap you one more. And Buddha been talking about benevolence. So actually people have no choice to hate somebody, but to love them.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's a statement that we should remember. Otherwise, we will never reach enlightenment.
Mm.
And then the other thing that when people have some sort of anger, then they should, the first thing before they want to learn about how to get to enlightenment, they should understand the root cause of their angry mood. Whether it come from the family, whether it come from, their own life, or maybe they got to go further to looking for something that happened in the previous life. Because Buddha do talk about reincarnation. So then something nothing to do with this life, but other life.
Yes.
That influence a person. So therefore, once we understand why we're angry, why we keep moving, why we keep looking for green pasture, why cannot we sit down and talk to Buddha properly? Then Buddha might give you some lights. Instead of going to Himalaya, climb up the mountain and talk with God. Because God is right there in your TV room. He's right in your heart and your mind. And you say, we need to talk to God and say, why I'm so angry all the time. Yeah. So God can answer you because angel is always there. Angel right in the TV room watching TV with you. Because their job is to look after you. Thank you.
Beautifully said. Thank you, Yo. Thank you.
Thank you, Jung. When this meeting's over, I'll go and talk to God in the TV room. Alone. Testify, please.
Thank you. This is a very good lecture from a very good-looking man. Walter is very lucky because his face always, I don't know if he's always like this. He's a very positive looking man. So to be happy in front of others with this kind of face is very good.
Yeah.
And some people who do not have that kind of funny face. So this is very beautiful gift from God.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I would like to add something, but to be angry or not to be angry, for example, if I see bad things, I feel angry. And when I see good things, I feel compassionate and loving. I think these things goes to the inside feeling, but people can be angry. For example, when you see bad things in the road, a little child be abused or something like that, he got angry by naturally. So I don't think anger is bad, or it's. I think it's a natural response from our being, from internal. So we are compelled to do, for example, defending to a very weak man or very. There are situations that you naturally become angry. So that angry, I think it has some positive consequences. But in case of Walter, since you have a very good looking face, you can turn somebody from anger to to the other side of the moon. So even the prophets got angry. Jesus Christ was angry.
Yes.
When he saw that his father's temple became a shopping mall. So I don't think anger is bad. It's a reaction. The prophets got angry by the people.
Yes.
Even when they are sacrificed, the Baba himself has a lecture before he died. Very, very, very deep things. So I think anger is something natural, which is generated in our soul to defend something. And when we got angry also, we have some kind of strength which we do not have before.
Yes, yes.
So I don't think that anger is something like bad. It's good. When at times when you see, how do you see in your perspective? For
Well,
example,
I think, yeah, I think it's always one of those great sort of the riddles in life and in spiritual life, because another one of the things that the Buddha said that we should be careful about was desire as well. And yet we need to have a desire to improve ourselves, or the desire to be around the wise and the compassionate, you know. So I guess my only useful response would be anger is a tool and it is a natural thing, but it's something that's red hot as well. So we should be very, very careful in the way that we handle it. And we should know when to drop it. And it's very difficult to find that spot. We need to be very wise indeed. Yeah, that's the only thing that I could think of. Yeah. But thank you. It's a and I think also what you're touching on too is that element of wisdom as well. So when we see someone being hurt, for example, that we might actually need to physically intervene, and but what's the wisest way to do that? You know, and where do we stop? Because we can push the person away, but is there anything to be gained then by turning around and beating that person, for example? And I think the Buddha would have said, no, you know, we have to stop the harm being done. So you're quite right in recognizing that the motivating force is something that we need to examine and something we need to be conscious of. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. That's useful.
Thank you. And
yes,
testify.
when I think the problem is not to get angry. The problem is the response.
That's right. That's it. Yeah.
The response is the problem.
Yeah.
In that time, as Walter said, we have to restrain ourselves, not to be, not to do talk bad things or the sort of negative things. But the anger is, it comes by itself. You don't compel it. So when you got angry, you have a new force. You don't know it. So in the response, we have to be careful. I think like even the prophets are like that. They got angry. Some verses of the prophets is very, 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 very. Even you cannot read it because they suffered a lot. All the prophets of God suffer a lot.
Yes, yes.
And they teach a lot. The whole life teach, but the response is negative things. So when we respond, we have to be, for example, Here we have in our situation, the politics and the war is always around you. So you cannot go like a bird. You cannot fly. You get affected when your brother is dying, when your mother is crying, when your child has something. There is response, but the response has to be according to the teaching of the prophets. I think, am I clear in talking?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Thank you. And Tesfa is
Thank you.
from Ethiopia,
Thank
by
you.
the way. Well done.
Ah,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
The hot country, the hot hatred, the hot.
Yeah.
We need a lot of prayer in our country
Mm.
because something is messing up, messing up. Yeah, I'm also from the north part of Ethiopia, where all the hatred and things are bringing up.
Mm.
So
Mm.
the countrymen, they tell me, you don't have a heart.
Yeah.
You are laughing. You are always saying like good things, they say,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they won't respond, you know. But we abide by the teaching of our Lord that we love our neighbor, we love our hater, because he's a man like me. So day in and day out, everybody always curses you because you are not part of the problem. Like that. So we said that peace and love is the greatest of all. Someday peace will triumph. So something like that. I don't know. Sometimes you cannot talk what you really feel.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
day in and day out, morning, evening, always the politicians, these your neighbors, your countrymen, they hate you because you say peace.
Mm.
And they say, you say peace while situation like this. Yes, because uh, always personally, always in, I got angry, I got humiliated, I got, sometimes I cry, sometimes I got emotional, but I always keep my balance in the reaction. I don't react and I don't associate with those bad people to hurt others.
Yes. Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for
Thank you.
giving me
Very
some
wise. Thank you.
chance. But thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tesfa, for those remarks. Ahmed, and then we'll probably wind up.
Oh, when you look at the writings of all these manifestations of God, it's clear that all of them are saying have respect, love, benevolence. And I'm wondering whether, Walter, these are the characteristics or virtues that all the manifestations have been preaching to us. And these are the things that God wants us to act on in this physical world. Do you agree with those? That these virtues are the virtues for humanity?
Absolutely, Ahmad. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think people probably call the source of that by different names, but definitely, I think that it is a thread which runs through all the spiritual traditions in the world, and I think there's a reason for that. We're all called upon to be loving and to be kind, and no matter what our background and what our religion. I think it's the one thing that we can always agree upon. We want kindness, and we're called upon to be kind to others. Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
And it just reminds me of one of a very nice book I've read a few times. It's called The Story of a Soul by Therese of Lisieux, who later became a saint. I don't know if you've read that, but
I have, yeah, yeah.
yeah, she died young, but she was encouraged to write her memoirs, and she what she did. She practiced seeing God in other people, and that helped her to love them. But occasionally in the convent, there'd be this other nun who was very annoying, always speaking negatively or putting people down. And so I think maybe she was practicing a Buddhist technique. She said, "Okay, these words are coming. I'm just going to imagine I've got they've been translated into classical music. So when I receive them, I'm hearing something beautiful." So
that's a nice technique.
exactly, and it just shows the power of the mind. It's the one thing we can change. We can, if we want to, we can walk through a shopping centre seeing all these annoying people in the way, or we can see each human as a shining star.
Yeah, lovely.
Look, I thank you everyone for participating, and Walter, that was wonderful. You gave me some tips on what book to read and what concepts to think about.
Well, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it very much. Bless you all.
Thank you very much, Walter.
Thank you so much, Walter.
Ave Maria.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, all.
Be in touch.
Good
Be
night.
in touch, I said.
Okay, Walter.
He's moving to Vietnam
Thank you.
soon. Okay, see you.
Good night, everyone.